Good morning, friends. Good morning, students. In today's video, we'll discuss phospholipids, right? So, first of all, I will start with definition. What are phospholipids? The phospholipids are a category of compound lipids, right, with phosphoric acid, right? And in addition, they contain nitrogenous base, fatty acid, and alcohol, right? And they are further divided into two categories, right? They are further of two types, right? The first category is glycerophospholipids, right? And the second category is sphingophospholipid, right? So the basic difference is the alcohol. In glycerophospholipid, alcohol is glycerol, right? And in sphingophospholipid, alcohol is sphingosine, right? Now we'll start with the categories of all the glycerophospholipids in detail. First of all, I will start with phosphatidic. Now, these glycerophospholipids are most abundant in biological membranes, and the first phospholipid is phosphatidic acid, right? And it contains fatty acid carbon 1 and carbon 2, right? And third carbon atom, it contains phosphate group, right? So the basic, this is the basic phospholipid, glycerophospholipid, that is phosphatidic acid, right? And this phospholipids, that is glycerophospholipids, act as a connecting link between triglyceride and phospholipid metabolism, right? Like in carbohydrate metabolism, we have the basic molecule, that is glucose, from which we can synthesize all the different carbohydrates. So in the same manner, the phosphatidic acid is the basic molecule from which we can synthesize further types of glycerophospholipids. So this is the basic molecule containing fatty acid at carbon 1, 2, and a third carbon, it contains a phosphate group, right? Now we start with the second phospholipid. Now the second phospholipid is our lecithin. What is lecithin? Lecithin is derived from the Greek word which means lacithos, which means egg yolk, right? And chemically it is phosphatidylcholine, right? So we already discussed the structure of phosphatidic acid. I have written here, and when we add additional base, that is choline, it is converted to lecithin, right? So here I am attaching this additional group, that is choline, right? So phosphatidic acid plus choline will give our the compound, that is lecithin, which in Greek means lacithos, which means yellow part of the egg, that is egg yolk, right? Now I will discuss it in detail. Now this lecithin consists of two further categories, that is dipalmitol lecithin and lysolecithin, right? Lysolecithin can be found from lecithin by removal of fatty acid at carbon 1 or 2, then we'll get lysolecithin. And this, the first one, dipalmitol lecithin, is an important lung surfactant, right? And it prevents the adherence of inner surface of the lungs, right? And it has important role in respiratory distress syndrome, right? Where the infant lacks this surfactant, and it will cause infant respiratory distress syndrome. And its level in amniotic fluid also indicate the fetal lung maturity, right? It can be calculated as LS ratio, right? Lecithin levels increase after 28 weeks of pregnancy, and earlier in 28 weeks of pregnancy, the sphingomyelin ratio is more, right? So when LS ratio is greater than 2.0, it indicates the fetal lung maturity, because after 28 weeks, the lecithin levels increase, and before 28 weeks, the levels of sphingomyelin are more. So when LS ratio is greater than 2.0, it indicates that the fetal lung maturity has occurred, and then it the baby should be delivered, right? So this plays an important role, lecithin in by acting as a surfactant, and moreover, if the fetal lacks lung surfactant, it can be administered with artificial surfactant as well, right? Now we'll start with the third phospholipid. Now the third phospholipid is cephalin, and chemically it is phosphatidyl ethanol amine, right? Both cephalin and lecithin, they differ in regard to base, as cephalin contains ethanolamine base and lecithin contains the second phospholipid, lecithin contains choline, right? So here it is phosphatidic acid, and when we add the base, that is ethanol amine to it, right? So I am adding ethanolamine, CH2, CH2, and NH2. So ethanolamine is added, and we will get phosphatidic acid plus ethanolamine. We will get our third phospholipid, that is our cephalin, right? And cephalin plays an important role in conformation of ETC and thus help in cellular respiration. Besides, it plays some role in blood clotting as well, and it also acts as a lipotropic factor, and so it helps in removal of fat from the liver and also in reverse cholesterol transfer. Now I will start with the fourth one. Now this fourth one, that is phosphatidylinositol. It contains the stereoisomer of myoinositol with phosphatidic acid, and we will get phosphatidylinositol, right? And it has role in component of cell membrane, right? And action of certain hormones is mediated through phosphatidylinositol, like the first one is vasopressin, and the second one is oxytocin. These two hormones are mediated by second messenger through the role of phosphatidylinositol. Now let's start with the fifth phospholipid. Now this fifth phosphatidylserine, it contains additional base, that is serine along with phosphatidic acid. So I am attaching serine here. So additional amino acid serine is added to phosphatidic acid, and we will get our fifth phospholipid, that is phosphatidylserine. And if the base serine we have replaced with 309, then it can be phosphatidyl 309. And these two phospholipids, phosphatidylserine and 309, have a role in program cell death, that is apoptosis, right? Now start with the sixth one. Now in case of plasminogens, we have ether linkage and ethanolamine, right? So phosphatidic acid as usual is there. Ethanolamine is attached, CH2, CH2, NH2. So it forms the third phospholipid, that is cephalin, right? But cephalin has ester linkage, and this phosphatidyl ethanolamine plasminogen has ether linkage. So here we have ether linkage, and so we'll get the product, that is our plasmalogen, right? But in case of cephalin, it was phosphatidic acid plus ethanolamine, but no ether linkage, right? So the product was cephalin, right? So remember the difference: phosphatidyl ethanolamine, it is plasmalogen. If it is phosphatidyl ethanolamine, it is cephalin. The last is cardiolipin, and it was first isolated from heart muscle. That's why the name cardiolipin. That means it was first isolated from heart muscle, right? And chemically, it contains two molecules of phosphoric acid and a glycerol at the center. So this is glycerol molecule, right? And at carbon 1, phosphatidic acid is attached, and on carbon 3, similarly, phosphatidic acid is attached. So it is diphosphoric acid, glycerol at the center. So the name is diphosphatidic acid because two phosphoric acid groups are there and glycerol at the center, right? And it is the coming on to the uses. It is an important component of inner mitochondrial membrane, and it has good antigenic properties as well, right? And the levels of, if the levels of cardiolipin decrease, it will result in aging, hypothyroidism, and cardiovascular myopathy, right? And anti-cardiolipin antibodies are also used in diagnostic tool during evaluation of organ transplant. Now, the second category of phospholipids is sphingophospholipids, and sphingophospholipids contain and cause sphingosine, right? The glycerol is totally absent in sphingophospholipids, right? And so this is the basic sphingosine that I have drawn with blue. Sphingosine, and further amide linkage is there, and when it is attached to a phosphate group and choline, that is phosphoryl choline, it will form ceramide, right? And these sphingophospholipid are useful in myelin sheath and brain and nervous tissue, right? And they also play a role in cell signaling and apoptosis as well. And the ceramide, when it is attached to a 30 carbon fatty acid, it plays role in it also plays role in skin, and it also regulates skin and water permeability as well, right? So sphingosine is alcohol with amide linkage and phosphoryl choline, right? Glycerol is totally absent in sphingophospholipids, right? So that finishes with our chapter on phospholipids. So for upcoming videos, please like the channel and subscribe it. So bless fishes. Thank you.